Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Sonic Adventure. We just finished up the last episode with the levels up through Casinopolis, and now we're headed over to Ice Cap.
It is good to be back here. I wonder where this ice statue even comes from. It just shows up when Casinopolis is done, but I don't know if someone threw it down here or what.
Well, Cream the Rabbit shows up once that level is done, so maybe she dropped it on the way here to help us.
That does make some sense for the later versions, but she's not in the Dreamcast version, so I'm not really sure about that one. Once I finally get up this weird rock formation, we'll be moving on. We did mention this last time, but we would like to hear from the audience if editing out more sections of levels and backtracking works well for those, or if it's a little too jarring.
I was reading through some of the comments from the first video, and people tended to like it for the most part, but we'll have to keep it in mind if it's going to work for the rest of the playthrough.
We don't plan on having this editing style through all of our videos, as it's still experimental right now. For ones like Mega Man and Metal Gear Solid, we probably won't be editing out much at all for those, so please let us know what you all think about it.
And speaking of letting people know what we're thinking, it's a not very good level up ahead.
Oh, come on, it isn't that bad. It's actually one of the best levels to experiment with spin-dash jumps, because if you play it correctly, then you can skip a good portion of the level.
Oh, I sense a really good jump coming up.
Yep, now I get to use the rocket earlier than intended.
Well, is it really a good level if you feel an interest in skipping the majority of it? I can see how it's fun to do these tricks, but maybe it's not a fun level if skipping it is the fun part in itself.
I can definitely see where you're coming from, but I can go through these sections normally just fine while still enjoying it, and I may have too if I don't get the next jump right, since it's a lot harder.
Wait, you can do that? I only knew about the first jump, but I wasn't aware of another skip.
Yeah, I didn't exactly get it, but you can do a tricky jump and skip most of this area and move right on to the avalanche. Admittedly, this area I don't find as fun since these icicles are repetitive, and the first half of the level isn't really like the Sonic the Hedgehog 3 level at all, besides it being about a cold mountain.
On one hand, I try not to compare the 3D levels to the 2D games, but in this case it's directly named the same thing, so the comparisons are a lot easier to make.
I can definitely agree with that. Also, Joe, this is where the skip would have landed you if I got it earlier.
Oh, okay, that's good to know. I never liked this level that much, so I'll have to try out that skip next time I play it.
And we're about to go on to what's the most notable part of the level with the avalanche. It is a pretty good way to end the level, but I'm a little bothered by there being no real threat from the avalanche itself. You're always going to get faster, and it doesn't hurt you even if you do try and slow down.
Yeah, I actually had one time where I wasn't moving the controller at all, and I still made it through most of it just fine.
You fell asleep while playing the game again, didn't you?
Maybe.
I am inclined to agree that the avalanche is visually quite good, but not all that significant on a gameplay level, and I think that applies to a lot of sections in the game. The whale chasing in Emerald Coast doesn't require much input, nor does the part going down the building in Speed Highway, but it's more about spectacle. Now that I think about it, that applies to a lot of things in Sonic games.
I suppose you're right. The gun truck chase in City Escape, most of the boost sections in Sonic Unleashed, the boss fights in Sonic Superstars, where you just wait for the boss to be ready for you to attack. There's a lot that is mainly just for looks in the series.
That is probably something that could lead to a deep analysis about gameplay aspects, but I don't think our audience is here to discuss the philosophy of Sonic the Hedgehog game design, or at least I wouldn't think so.
Yeah, I think they tend to be here for our political banter and my classic stories of my youth. I haven't told one of those for a little while now that I think about it.
I think we can easily keep it at that for the rest of our channel. I did want to actually mention how terrible the missions are here. There's the oddly precise one with those jumps that are hard to understand where and how to jump from, and you just have to restart the level if you don't get them all. There's also the one where Tails has to get all of those flags at the end of his section, and you can't just slow down that much since Sonic will finish the level and ruin your attempt. Most of the missions are fine, but those two are really bad.
Yeah, even though I really like this game, I can't defend those ones.
Those two missions I always did last, they were just so hard and I could never get them consistently. I spent about a year on and off during my presidency trying to get them, and eventually got them after a while of just trying it for 2 days straight. It was right before that one really bad debate, so not the best decision I made.
So that's why you seemed so out of it that day? At least now we all know what happened. Oh yeah, Knuckles is coming up too.
What's up, Knuckles? Something bugging you?
The animation and mouth movements are bugging me now that you mention it.
Give me the emeralds you have, right now! What? Let's just see you take them, huh?
And here comes, without a doubt, the pinnacle of fights in video games against Knuckles. I can't imagine a more complex strategy, and he's done already.
Oh no! The Chaos Emeralds!
If only the fastest thing alive could just pick them up now.
That would be too convenient.
Like taking candy from a baby. That's a Chaos Emerald. That's right, fool! You made it all too easy!
I think anybody else could just run up and take him out of his hands here. They're literally just watching him do a monologue with no attempt at stopping him.
Get away with this. Knuckles, don't tell me Eggman tricked you again.
Me? What about you?
Way to go, Knucklehead.
Now I have 4 lovely emeralds.
Gotta love how the music just abruptly stops. I didn't realize how jarring it was until I really listened to it on this recent playthrough. I don't remember if the Dreamcast version was like this.
These are for you, my friend.
He transformed again!
Thank you for saying that, young Sheldon. I couldn't have figured that out on my own, so I appreciate you being there to make it obvious.
He isn't calling Tails young Sheldon a joke from another world.
Yes, it is. While I beat Chaos 4, which is one of the most boring fights in the game, I wanted to bring up an important update for the President's AI community that has affected some, including us. PlayHT is reported to be shutting down at the end of 2025. We will say right now that this will not mean we are going to stop making videos. If anything, there may be a little while without uploads at the beginning of 2026 while we get a different site to host our voices, but we do not want anybody to think this change will mean we are going to quit because of that, so don't you worry. We will still be around regardless of PlayHT not being here after the year ends. It's not all that relevant right now, but still felt it was an important thing to talk about since I think some people are worried about that for other channels.
Somehow this boss fight was actually less enjoyable than learning about PlayHT being shut down. I'm glad you skipped around and didn't just leave in every part of him swimming while being impossible to hit.
That looked a lot higher quality than all the other scenes so far. If only they were all like that.
But it pales in comparison to the power of chaos. Adieu, until we meet again, my friends.
I know I've been mentioning a lot how there's weird things happening in the cutscenes like Sonic or his friends just standing still when they could be doing something to save the Chaos Emeralds, but he really could have just gone up with him and avoided the Sky Chase level.
Let's get to my workshop and we'll take the tornado!
Yeah.
You guys go. I have some unfinished business to take care of.
No problem, Knuckles. We'll take care of everything here.
To your point about the cutscenes, yes, they are pretty weird how Sonic just doesn't do anything when he clearly can at multiple points. Typically, I would say it's not a huge problem, but it does come up repeatedly, and it would make more logical sense if he didn't just let Dr. Eggman just have the emeralds so easily. Basically, 90% of the game would be avoided if that happened.
I get that the game needs to progress the story, and it's the first proper 3D game in the series, so I'm sure there would have been a better way to convey this with better technology for making cutscenes, but it's still weird to keep seeing the same problem so consistently. At least there are some cool scenes like this one.
Sonic, hop in!
This actually reminds me of a television show I helped make one time.
Joe, I typically hate the idea of you telling a story about anything, but considering nobody likes Sky Chase, this is one of the few times in my life I'd rather focus on what you have to say than what's happening in the game.
I'm glad you'll finally be listening to what I have to say now. So you know that one movie called Scared Straight where some kids meet these prisoners for a while to make them not do crimes? And then the television show called Beyond Scared Straight where they stay in for even longer. Well, I was the main idea person behind the sequel show Beyond Scared Straight. It was pretty much the same as the one before, except the kids never actually get to leave the prison. I figured if I just locked them up before they can do any crime, then that would solve problems before they even happen. It never got picked up as a series because it was apparently copyright infringement since we never got permission to use that title, but we already shot 4 seasons worth of material with 20 episodes each and 30 kids in every episode that got to see what the criminals were like to avoid a life of crime. Well, did you two like my idea of a television series?
Joe, never in my life have I heard of an idea so absolutely horrible and revolting that has left me at a loss of words. I know you have some absolutely insane stories about what you get up to, but this is by far the worst. There are 2,400 children in prisons that will never get released based on your rip-off idea of entertainment. I can't believe you're even here watching this game with us when you should be awaiting sentencing for crimes that probably haven't even been considered possible by the legal system.
So does that mean you don't like the idea?
No, Joe, I don't like the idea.
Wait, how does Tails and the Tornado remind you of that show idea anyway?
One of the kids in the third season said he wanted to be a pilot when he grew up. I hope they have airplanes in prisons to practice so his dream can come true.
Tails? Tails!
Sonic was doing his regular walking animation while falling down because apparently that is a natural thing that happens when you fall.
You're not who I'm looking for. Oh, I wonder if he's okay.
If Sonic can fall down and be fine, then I don't see why Tails would be in any worse shape.
On a more important note, are we just moving past Joe's television idea that endangers children? I feel like we shouldn't move on that quickly.
That would be a good idea to just move away from it for now. Plus, Amy is coming up in the next scene, so he's going to talk about her soon enough.
Sonic, wait up! Long time no see!
Amy.
What's wrong with you anyway? Listen, this birdie seems to be in trouble.
So guys, be honest with me. Do you think I have a chance to get with Amy over Sonic? I'm trying to think of things I do better than him, but I'm not thinking of a lot.
Joe, they're fictional characters. You're not in competition with any of them. Oh great, the song abruptly cuts off again. Maybe this design choice is so next level that we simply can't understand how genius it really is.
Ah, look! Eggman's robot's on the loose!
No problem. He's just a chunk of cheesy hardware.
Whoa!
Oh, now what? Huh?
Look here! It says, cute couples get in free!
Hey Amy, you and I could get in free since that is definitely an appropriate thing to have happen.
I think Amy and the robot would make a better couple.
Wait! Oh, man! That girl is such a pain.
I never actually considered what the Twinkle Park would constitute as a cute couple. Sonic can go up without paying anything just fine, so he's able to bypass that. If someone at the staff considered a couple as not cute, would they just not let them up? How would they even know who is coming in to begin with? How would a not cute couple pay considering there's no way to have a transaction here?
I think you're putting way too much thought into that, Barack. You're like the people who keep talking about Jeffrey Epstein where you just don't want to stop talking about what he may or may not have done.
I'm not sure what bothers me more, the fact that you don't want people to keep talking about Jeffrey Epstein, or the idea of Twinkle Park not having an easily understandable payment system is a reasonable comparison to his list.
I don't know, it seems like that is a reasonable comparison.
Thank you, Joe. I think if everyone just listens to what I have to say about it, then everything will make sense.
Okay, I'm going to need a moment to be sure I got the timeline of events correctly. So Jeffrey Epstein is arrested and then kills himself during your first term, and then many people say things such as Epstein didn't kill himself on social media for years after that. Then you mention unsealing the files leading up to the election before you became the president again. Then in February of 2025, there are various people holding up binders of information relevant to the case, and Pam Bondi mentions the files are on her desk. Kash Patel goes on Joe Rogan's podcast and states there are thousands of hours of video as well. In July, Pam Bondi states there is no list, and apparently all of the video is gone, while all of the binders of information were just blank paper, apparently since there was nothing to release. After previously being told there was no video of the doors outside of Jeffrey Epstein's room, there suddenly are hours of video that are cut together, and a statement that he actually did kill himself despite the fact there is no list, so he must have just done it for no reason later on you claim it, is a hoax, and people should stop talking about it, with many conservatives that initially thought releasing the list was a great idea suddenly think it's a bad idea because you say so. Afterwards you then say there are files, but they were made by Hillary Clinton and I, so it's no longer a hoax. Multiple votes to release the files were done, with Republicans voting against it almost unanimously. We as a public are supposed to naturally accept all of that as fact with no issue?
That is correct, yes.
I'm about to lose my mind. Welcome to Twinkle Park, everyone. This is a pretty fun level, but I'm going to be taking a much shorter path because I know a few tricks to skip ahead of a few sections of the level. The first part is a pretty simple track with other characters and vehicles, but there's not much to do there besides get hit by a few of them and collect rings. There are a lot of spots here to spin, dash, jump around coming up, and it's a nice level to go through as Sonic. Not as much for Amy and Big, but we'll get there later.
Oh, I didn't know about all of those tricks. I haven't said much in a while, but I think this is a good level. Not sure how a normal person could get around it with all of the lethal obstacles here, though.
That applies to pretty much every level in the game when you really think about it. This is a pretty lethal world when it comes to every level for a normal person.
Oh, shoot! I've lost Amy. I bet that robot hauled butt after her. I'd better catch her before it does.
I'm not sure if he lost her if he never really caught up with her to begin with, since he didn't see her in the level itself.
Not related to that, but I really like how for the second time the way to the next level quite literally just falls from the sky. There really wasn't any organic way to show the way to get to the next level, so it probably just gets dropped by Cream or whomever.
Yeah, it would have made more sense to just have the doors open up automatically, if anything, but I don't think there's any more examples aside from that. And the ice statue that I'm aware of.
No, I can't think of any either. Now we actually have a really good level. Speed Highway is one of the highlights of the game for me, along with Emerald Coast for the levels, since it's just a really fun place to be around. There's so many ways to get from one place to another, even if there is one main way that most people end up going through. I can easily remember skipping a good amount of the level with a really precise spin dash jump on the moving platform near the checkpoint to get right to the larger building nearby.
Yeah, I've tried that myself a few times, but I've never gotten it without that platform there. Hey Joe, it's been a while since we've heard a lot from you. What's been going on recently?
Yeah, actually, I've been up to a couple things with my game consoles. I actually fixed my PlayStation 5. It was having issues not playing PlayStation 5 games for more than about 40 minutes because it would just freeze. I tried getting the dust out of the fan by taking off the covers, but it didn't really fix it despite it looking a lot better. After that, I looked on the inside and got to clean out a lot of dust in the middle section. It took a while since I had to use a paperclip to pull it all out, but I'm glad it works a lot better. Still gets warmer than I'd like, but I'll take it. I'm glad I'm not the president anymore, since I'm sure I'd get a lot of people saying, Joe, why are you doing this when there's so much else you could be doing with your time, but now I can just do whatever I want with my free time.
Doesn't seem like much of a problem since there's only like 10 PlayStation 5 exclusive games, so you didn't have much of a limit even when it wasn't working as well. Oh, and Barack, don't act like I didn't see that part where you died a moment ago. At least you're not in peril of getting a game over, but I still noticed it happen anyway.
I was hoping Joe talking about his PlayStation 5 would cause you not to be paying attention, but it didn't work. This part right here is my favorite part of the level. Sure, it's more spectacle than anything as there's not really any threat here, but just the visual looks great to see Sonic run down a building. Not sure how when he jumps he lands back on the building, since he has no reason to just go right back down like that.
I don't think Sonic often obeys the laws of physics, so this is pretty consistent.
Yeah, I'm sure there's many more examples like this, so it's pointless to question how he does this. Maybe he's just built different.
He is definitely built different. I'm still not sure how other regularly proportioned humans interact with him like he does in some of these games, or even how they react to Dr. Eggman considering he's shaped so differently and yet is as fast as Sonic on occasion.
Whoa, I didn't know you could go up this way. Sorry to get off topic, but I've always went the normal way by going down to the ground instead of over here.
It's all right. I'm sure it wasn't intended exactly, but it's a nice skip. That's one of the things I like about this game more than others is these tricks you can do to interact or sometimes not interact with the levels if you master the movement. It's arguable whether this is a good design choice considering the idea of skipping parts of levels making it better is a little weird to think about, but I enjoy it more because of the freedom that isn't in other games that much.
Help!
I'll cut him off at the Mystic Ruins.
Let me go, you hunk of junk! I mean it!
Barack, please save Amy. I don't know what I'll do with myself if something happens to her. I'm so afraid for what will happen to a fictional hedgehog girl in a way I never have been before.
She'll be fine, Joe. The game's story is predetermined.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Hey, what's happening here?
I've always wondered how the egg carrier just shows up abruptly like you didn't notice it before. It's not exactly a small and subtle thing that's just flying in the air.
Stop!
Sonic, help me!
Sonic yet again just stands there and makes no attempt to go up with him.
We're off to the next level for Sonic at Red Mountain. Before that, we'll stop by near the Master Emerald Shrine to get a new ability.
Which always confused me as I thought the shrine was in a different place like in Sonic the Hedgehog 3, but apparently it's outside now with no surrounding super emeralds. Unless I'm just completely wrong and there's multiple places the Master Emerald can be placed.
This is the ancient light. Try the light speed dash toward the enemy. With this, you can now do the light speed attack.
Honestly, I have no idea how that all worked. Not sure how it would have gotten to Hidden Palace Zone to here.
More importantly, you got the light speed attack and can move on now, even if there's not much use for this attack outside of right now.
Hey guys, I've been taking my pills on time and I think they're kicking in now. I thought about something really thought-provoking if you all want to hear it.
Oh, great Joe on his pills with a story. I can't wait to hear what nonsense he comes up with now.
So I was thinking about some recent events and contemplated the way people respond to the passing of a more publicly known person. I've always thought this was interesting. I see so many people say rip whomever died, and the vast majority of them never directly knew them or even interacted with them in a significant way, if at all. I was curious on why this was, and I believe people are sometimes conflating the person's work or contribution towards entertainment with the actual quality of the person. If you watch someone play a role on television or a movie then learn they passed away, they tend to feel sad based on their loss, but it's mainly based on what they experienced from the famous person within their work. At this point, I started to think, what exactly are people even mourning? If you never met the person and yet feel a strong connection for them, it may be more of a parasocial connection that isn't really the same as actually knowing someone for their character, and that always stuck with me. I remember a while back how people claimed 2016 was such a bad year on social media because a lot of famous people died who probably didn't even know the majority of people that ended up mourning them. Of course, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with having these sorrowful thoughts about the people, though it is perplexing to see people become saddened for the passing of someone based only off their work, and knowing their work will not continue on more than their actual quality of their person that they never knew. Hey, are you guys still there?
Sorry about that, Joe. It's just, that's probably the most thought you've ever put into anything and is so unlike anything else you've ever said before that it's taken me some time to process.
Yeah, that certainly would have been helpful during your presidency, but we'll take the next best time, which apparently is playing Sonic Adventure.
Yeah, I think I'll go back to my regular self in a minute when the pills wear off. Hey audience, how about we bring back the comment questions for the video by telling us what you all think when it comes to mourning notable people in the public eye.
No, we are not starting the comment questions again with that, Joe. For an actual question that we'd like to know from the people watching, what is your favorite Sonic game? Not just in 3D or 2D, but any of them at all. If you'd like to know ours, we have a couple of tier lists a while ago that give a lot more of our thoughts.
We'd love to know what other people think their favorites are, and we'll see if we can respond to them and come up with more questions later in the series. This may be a lost cause, but can we actually talk about the level? Joe's whole thing threw us off and haven't mentioned anything on screen for a while now.
That is a great idea, Donald. Personally, I like the level, but I'm not as big of a fan for the first part. It's mostly fine, but there's some little things that bother me. That one section with the hammer hitting that button that somehow doesn't do anything until Sonic stands on it is just weird, but mainly it's the Knuckles part that I don't like since it's way too open-ended. The inside section here I find a lot better since it's more focused and I have a better time going through it.
That makes a good amount of sense. I think Joe and I will tell you our thoughts once the cutscenes are over.
Yeah, Sky Chase is coming up and we'll definitely want to talk about anything else when that happens.
If Tails didn't show up, then Sonic just would have been stuck and had no way out of here.
Then we wouldn't have had to play Sky Chase again, so I think that would have been better.
Tails, I'm glad you're okay.
There goes Sonic disobeying the laws of physics by standing near perpendicular to the ground.
Ready to roll, champ? Let's go!
Roger.
All right, everyone, I know we make fun of this a lot, but none of us here like Sky Chase. It's mainly an issue because you go through it twice with Sonic in this part, and then also twice with Tails with nothing changing between the two. There is no way to speed it up in the game at all, so it's just repetitive and boring. We're just going to skip it entirely when we get to Tails because there's simply nothing new there, but we want to show at least some of it now.
I will say there is a little bit of fun getting a high score for one of the emblems since you actually have to think about your shots more, but I can't defend having to do the exact same thing twice for two different characters.
Since nobody likes this place, we can talk about Red Mountain a little more. I liked it fine enough, but yeah, I spent such a long time playing it as Knuckles since I had no idea where the emerald pieces were as there's so much to look through. I didn't enjoy it as much as Casinopolis since that was a lot more closed off. Playing it as Gamma was pretty fun though, even if it was pretty simple and easy like most of his levels.
I didn't really like it at all for anyone. Sure, it has multiple paths in both sections, but for Sonic it's easier to fall off, and Gamma's is almost one straight shot with not much else to look forward to.
Yeah, I can definitely see where you are coming from on that. Still, it's better than most of the later levels in the playthrough. Not exactly relevant to Sonic specifically, but there was an update we wanted to give for the AI President community in general, as there have been some changes. This actually happened while we were editing the video, since we already mentioned PlayHT was shutting down earlier, but now VoxBox is not using political voices. To reiterate from earlier, this doesn't mean we won't be uploading, just that we have one less option than we anticipated. We will still be around like we have been.
Yeah, it's a shame, but apparently some people use AI for more nefarious purposes, and sites have to be careful on what they allow. So on one hand, it makes sense to not let people use it to create harm to someone's reputation or scam someone, but I don't think it's necessary to punish those who use it for entertainment.
As long as we just find a way to entertain ourselves and other people, then that's what really matters. We found a way before when 11 Labs wasn't reliable, so we can do it again. Probably.
Alrighty, we're in.
We gotta land on the egg carrier.
Whoops.
I forgot something.
What's that?
There's no landing gear in this mode.
Thanks for not coming through for us, Tails, or should I say Fails the Fox.
I think we can be done for the day since we already got a lot done. We should be finishing up with Sonic in the next part, and then we'll get the rest of the characters started after that.
That sounds good. I'm excited to see what characters we will end up playing as in a few parts from now.
We'll handle all of that later. For now, we'd like to thank everyone for watching as always.
Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
And peace out, people.